Hello, people. Hello, people. I do not understand how it is 11:35 p.m. The notion is absurd. I don't know where the hell today went. A lot of random things did happen. I did do some things. I did do some things today, and yet I feel like I should have done many more things. Now, we are here today to document the most complicated feature in the universe, known as the if statement. And why are we documenting this? Well, because if you've never programmed in your life, you wouldn't know. But also, because other documentations later sort of refer back to it, because we have if x and we have static if and static if x, and they all refer back. So it's just a good idea to have that. You know what I'm saying? How are you doing? Okay. The basics of the if statement. Most programming languages have an if statement, and this one is no exception. It is like the if statement from C or C++, but with some minor syntactical differences. The basic format is if condition, then do if true, else do if false. The reason to use an if statement is when you have some code that you want to run sometimes under some conditions, you might want other code to run. It's funny how abstract and strange this sounds, but it's one of the most basic things to understand when programming. Okay, so okay. Did we already do for? I'm pretty sure we did for loop already, right? In fact, I'm pretty sure we did if statements before this. I do some in 003. You briefly introduced if back in 003 booleans, but here we'll go into finer details. Okay. So did we do for loops? Dude, I don't know my own documentation. How am I supposed to know? It's probably in arrays, right? For. Yeah, we do some for loops there. We probably want a looping how-to, right? I'm just going to put that at the top of the list there. In what languages can you not omit the else block? I don't know, but I'm sure there is one. I guarantee you there is some programming language wherein you cannot omit the else block. And if you'll try to prove me wrong and I can't find one, I'll just make one where you can't omit the else block. That is how you guarantee win arguments. You just make the language. Oh. C plus minus else lang. Okay. X colon equals 5. If x is equal to 5, then print x is 5. Else print x is not 5. It's not, say, 5 factorial. Let's just say this. Okay. Okay. Dang it. How many times in my life have I typed import basic now? What a great look at how useful the programs are that we write. They're so useful. They are so useful. What is the point of then? We will get to that. See this common problem? Oh, we will get to that. In fact, we could do that right now. We can skip truthiness for now and come back to it. Skip braces for now. Okay. There's a common syntactic problem that happens in the language as it currently stands. There are a few operators that work. There are a few operators that work both as binary operators and operators and unary operators. I'm saying the word operators a lot, but I just want clarity. The most common of these is which in binary mode performs a shift and in unary dereferences a pointer. The parser will parse as a binary operator if it is able to do so, which can cause only then treating it as unary if no. As unary if, I don't know. How do you explain these things to noobs? How do you explain these things to noobs? Only treating it as unary if it's the beginning of a new expression. Okay? This can cause problems if you use if without then or a brace, because sometimes your conditional expression is simple enough that it looks like a binary operator. But it looks like the left-hand side of binary operator. For example, x is 5 if x, let's say f is a float, pointer is pointer to f. If x, f equals 3. .o. Okay, that will not parse. But we have a much better error message for it now. Lol. Okay. If you uncomment the following statement, it will not parse. fix this, you can use then or braces. If x, then f is 3. Let's just do that. If x, f equals 3. All right, let's make sure we're not lying to the people. Oh, it's not even the right thing. Oh my God. Okay. That is why. GitHub does support Subversion. It's just, you know, I mean, I'm not the author of leftpad.js. Why would I use GitHub? You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? It must be said that is a moderately ugly and awkward way to dereference syntax for dereferencing pointers, so we should probably change it. One alternative would be to use kind of like Pascal did, but the inverse, right? Like this in Pascal, it's like putting this before to take the pointer and after to dereference or something like that. From Finland or somewhere complained that their keyboards were designed by sad people. That said, as a postfix operator, kind of like Pascal did. That said, maybe the inconvenience of Finn's typing is really not that big in the grand scheme of things, or maybe we can come up with a nicer way to do it. As the language has evolved, it's become apparent that one does not explicitly dereference pointers nearly so much as in C, and that's great. Okay, so that's that documentation. Dot star is dereference. But no, because star, see, it doesn't make sense. Because pointer means the opposite. I mean, you could still do it. Like, it's just syntax. You could still do it. It's just star means the opposite thing in this language. Language. I type language all the time. How do you know it was not intentional? Okay. Now that said, like the thing about something like dot star is, so there's a reason to like postfix generally, which is that dereferencing normally goes left to right anyway. Like if you go A dot B dot C, you're dereferencing as you go left to right. And so maybe we should do just some operator and just pick one and have it be left to right and then just see what we think about that. Because I think the left to rightness matters more than um, the left to rightness matters more than the specific thing. I mean, we could like dot star is I mean, it's a little bit weird. So there's this secondary meaning, right? If you're thinking about star as the regex meaning, which I think is part of that decision, then you're sort of saying instead of dot one member, you're saying dot everything, right? Which is a way, it's a way that kind of makes sense. But it's also a little bit syntactically ambiguous. Like you would have to, so if you say 4 dot star, right? That's technically, I mean, depending on if you allow somebody to write a floating point number with period as the last digit, which C does, and, you know, then you would have to just have your parser be very contextual, right? And say, well, if the thing on the left is you know what I'm saying. If the thing on the left is a floating point number, then, well, I guess it wouldn't be, I guess you would do that in the lexer, right? You would see a dot, but you would know that you're parsing a number already, so you just wouldn't do the star. So actually, I guess it's not a problem. I take it back. That's not a problem. On a Finnish keyboard, caret is shift plus double caret. Not that big of a deal. Yeah, so you know, that's what happens when you listen to feedback. Like, I think it would be annoying for them to use it as a commonly used operator, but this is really not that common anyway. You read dot star as access pointer, but you don't program in this language though, probably, right? Because star means something different anyway. Go uses ampersand to dereference. Oh, you mean like as postfix? Caret is a shift caret followed by space. Yeah, so it's not that annoying. Like, if it's not a thing that happens very much, it's not that annoying. You went in zig. Okay, well, that's fine. That is fine. So, since people on the Discord like to syntax bike shed, Where was the last syntax bike shedding thread? I need to go through and read these. Wait, what? What just happened? Did a channel get deleted? What just? Oh, it's just not being shown? What is going on? There was one thread where I complained about bike shedding. Okay. That's in this thread. All right. Hey, I am going to intentionally bring back the syntax bike shedding for a second. I hope people feel fine that we're broadcasting the secret beta for a second. How do I... It feels like time to try something new for pointer dereference rather than the dreaded prefix operator, whatever. Options that come immediately to mind. 1. Postfix whatever, like Pascal. 2. Postfix.star, which streamlines with other struct dereferences and kind of could be read in ArrayX kind of way to mean dot everything. I guess Sig does this question mark, but is a little weird here because star means take pointer on the left, but maybe being postfix, it is fine in Pascal. Meant opposite things depending on whether it was prefix or postfix. Wait, it deleted the star. It deleted the star. How do I make it do a star? How pompous is Discord that it's not going to let me type a freaking star? Okay. 3. Prefix ampersand, because if we are going to make star mean the opposite thing, than it does in C, why not continue with opposite day? This is actually not very good because it will have the same, it will incur the same parsing issues that whatever already does. It's just slightly less ugly. Okay, I will let people bike chat about the syntax. what is being developed, that is being documented. We have invented here for the first time a very amazing programming language feature called the if statement. The if statement allows you to do some things sometimes, but then not other times. It's astonishing and revolutionary. All right. So, the intro section, the then and else portions of the if statement can be blocks containing many statements of their own. Use braces to enclose the blocks. If x is less than 0, print, I think x is negative. Y equals minus x. Print the negative of x is whatever, comma y. Y is greater than 0. Else, print, I think x was not negative. Print, I am pretty sure. Maybe it was 0. Let's just do that. If x is equal to 0, print, yep, it was 0. Else, okay. What a wonderful expert tutorial this is. It's amazing. It's amazing. Only one statement inside the braces, but you might like the concision of omitting them. I do. I do. Now, there's a common question that happens in these kinds of languages. If you have multiple else statements in a row, in a way that might seem ambiguous, to which if is the else attached. For example, if x is greater than 9, then print x is high. Else, if x is greater than 3, then print x is medium. Else, print x is low. I guess we don't need I guess we don't need this. Hold on. What we really just want is this. Then of course, we probably want to come up with some code that actually, as with most languages, we attach languages. I told you, we attach the else to the nearest if that will take it. So this statement is equivalent to this. The above statement is equivalent to this. It is not equivalent to this. This is just the same in basically every language, aside from minor syntactical differences. Why did I say x and 3? That was a typo. How did I put a 3 there? Oh, because it used to be like greater than 3. And I goofed. Okay. X is high and even. That's not right. Wait. Guys. Oh. Okay. Let's put greater than 7. Let's go x equals 11. Okay, x is high enough. Well, we're printing the same thing. Let's go 10, because we want a different thing in each case. Yeah. So do I want, I feel, okay, here's a weird thing. We're printing the same thing for 2 of these, but you, as the person going to the code, kind of have to take my word that these are the same. So I'm going to go So I'm going to do this, even though it makes the code not technically totally the same, but now you can see which ones it is. Okay. So, you know, for experienced programmers, they're not like learning a lot in terms of foundational stuff, but we're just documenting the little details. Okay, truthiness. Don't you need two ifs at the front to trigger dangling else? You must have typed that before I did this. I don't know. I don't know, man. That message was old. Okay. Okay. So, truthiness. Now, in 003 Booleans, we probably talk about truth values. We don't really. I mean, we cast to bool. Okay. You know, I should mention some things. Look at all the replies on the syntax bike shedding already. Worth pointing out that postfix has the issue that it will also in some cases look like binary operator XOR equal if you do not put spaces. P XOR equal 5. That said, C is really weird in that twiddle is kind of the unary whatever, but it uses different operators. So that is kind of something we could fix. Could become the XOR operator and that dereference operator or vice versa. A different character for no apparent reason. What would be the bitwise not? That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is bitwise not is just unary XOR conceptually. Right? Think about it. Just like minus is unary minus, where 0 is the implicit thing you're minusing from. Twiddle is unary XOR, where all ones is the thing that you're XORing with, right? So like, there's no reason to use 2 operator characters for that. Hope that makes sense. How about surrounding with brackets? Well, the brackets means array subscript, so you're kind of... I don't think that would solve anything, because we would introduce parsing ambiguities back in the same places where we already have them, at least. A XOR tilde B instead of A XOR XOR. But you wouldn't need parentheses in that case. Right? It would just A caret caret B would just parse. I mean, maybe they like the readability better of having 2 different characters for cases like that. Or maybe they just didn't think of it. It's quite possible that they didn't think about things that way, or would have thought about them that way, but never had that thought. I feel strange to have a default operand of all ones. I mean, but what else would it be? Like, it's the only thing that makes any sense, right? It's like having your multiplicative identity be 1 and your additive identity be 0. Why is that what they are? Because that's what makes sense. If the only other usage is array indexing, which is kind of a form of pointer dereferencing anyway. Yeah, I mean, so putting bracket 0 bracket, as we've said in the Discord chat, is kind of the same as a unary dereference. It looks different enough. The fact that it conceptually looks like an array is kind of confusing, because usually when you would use this, it isn't an array. But sometimes there is an array, and you do want to say sub-0 of the array. So I don't know. Maybe we just need to have an emoji of Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. And you see that, and it's like, okay, that means we're dereferencing a pointer. Isn't the XOR identity 0? Well, I was saying identity by analogy, not that that's the identity for XOR. Yes, the XOR identity is 0 because that's what makes sense as the identity, right? What makes sense as the default for a unary operator is not the identity, because why then would you have the unary operator? You just wouldn't write it. Okay, let's try to finish this, because it is the most silly how-to that we have ever written. Not really, but okay, what do we say about truth values? Is there anything we can say that is actually useful about this? I mean, we need to say something. We need to define, okay, the if statement tests the truth value of whatever you put in the condition slot, but how do you know what's true and what isn't? This is a question we all ask ourselves in life, especially post 2020. But at least in a programming language like this, things are simpler. There's a well-defined way to know. There's a straightforward, well, it's also well-defined, but there's a well-defined set of things that are true. Like in 003 Booleans, I don't know if we go into this. I guess we don't. P dot as dereferences peak. The problem is that introduces minor syntax problems elsewhere, although we could think about it. But yeah, just saying dot, or even just dot dot. The problem is dot dot, it has a different meaning elsewhere, but maybe it's fine. Of things that are true, every basic data type has a default value that is equivalent to 0. This value is tests. This value becomes false if you cast it to bool, and it is evaluated as false if you put it into the... See, it just always feels convoluted to try to explain these things that if you've been programming, they're so simple you don't even fucking think about them like ever, right? For example, if I define an integer, x is an int, the default value is 0, print the default value of x is whatever, it casts to bool as false. B is cast bool of x. Print x cast to bool is whatever b. Let's just do this instead of getting verbiage about it. Okay. If x, then print x is true, else print x is false. Okay, so we do that. Now, this is true for strings as well. S is a string. If S, then print S is true. The default value of a string is 0, 0, which has any string count equals 0, data. Which one comes first? I think it's data. No, it's count, really. Oh, I know why I did that. Any string with count is equal to 0 evaluates as false. False fails. This is so basic. Oh my god. Okay, so now T is hello. T is facile. I bet people are... I see out of the corner of my eye the text is going up. I bet people are saying facile. Okay. Okay. Structs have default values that may be a mixture of true and false values. Because it's common for structs to contain non-zero members, we don't, by default, assign any truth value to them. Thing is a struct, name is kazoo, value is 0, right? Thing is a thing, if thing, then print thing is true. So I think we'll just say, yeah. The following statement will produce an error, uncomment it to C. Okay. Does .p have a meaning already? Like .p would be member P of a thing. Okay. For pointers, the default value is null, which also cast to false. P pointer is a thing. Okay, so we're going to do that. If pointer not equal to null, okay. Thus you I like using these shorthands for truth values of expressions. They are traditional and go back to the C programming language. Not everyone likes them, though. If you want something longer and more explicit, you can always write out the full condition. If pointer is not equal to null, like that. I think we're done with this how-to for now. What are there other things that we should say? We have 231 lines of talking about the if statement. Dot P without a struct is dereferencing an offset relative to everything. The problem is you can say dot member name on a pointer to a struct or pointers to other things. What if P is actually a member? What if it's not a member? What if it was a member and then somebody deleted that line of code? Do you want code far across the program to suddenly change in meaning but still compile? Well, should we say anything else about if statements? Does anyone else have questions about if statements? X is equal to 3 is false. Here we will execute the else block because X is equal to 3 is false. What's wrong? What's wrong with that? X is 5. You know, there's probably, in terms of covering all the operators, we would probably do that just in a different file, right? I agree. We don't currently do this, covering all the operators, and I agree that that would be a good idea to do. It's just, we don't want to do everything in the same place, you know. When to use the then key, I mean, I explained that already. We cover that. It's in the 231 lines. It's in there. Nobody? Nobody has the questions. Are there switch statements? There are. You know, we should cover that, but I don't think we should do it here. That is a good point that we would want to cover that. We might already. I mean, we sort of show it for a little bit. Hash if. We actually already have a whole other file for that. And that is one that we cover. We be telling people all about static if. We wrote that one a couple weeks ago, I think, if I remember correctly. If x. The reason why I'm doing if right now is because we did just write if x. Off stream. How crazy is it that the if is longer than the if x? I guess it's not that crazy. How do I handle the impulse of putting features in the language versus keeping it basic? I mean, decades of experience about what is actually useful and helpful. However, it's not like I don't add features to the language. It's just I only add features that I think are very helpful and are in line with a long-term vision that we're trying to achieve. Like, if you just are adding features like, wouldn't it be cool if this and wouldn't it be cool if that, you're just going to end up with kind of an incoherent thing that's not that nice, right? And so the goal is figure out what actually gets you somewhere. Got here late. Well, we didn't write if x on stream. That was off stream. We only did this one on stream. We're talking about if statements to all the people who don't understand them. Can you ask why you needed if x for expression if? I'm glad you asked. It says exactly, see, where is it? Where is it? Why introduce this new keyword instead of using if? Blah, blah, blah. It's my favorite MMO. Kingdom of Loathing. Or whatever the MMO was called. Was it West of Loathing? Wait, West of Loathing was single player. Right, original Kingdom of Loathing was the MMO. You used to sell Gmail accounts for currency in Kingdom of Loathing. I don't even want to know what that was all about. That does not sound savory. That does not sound like a legal activity. All right, everybody. I think it's bedtime for me. We're going on 1 a.m. We wrote some how-tos. We could very quickly just make sure that the tests go, which they probably will. Just wanted to do a short stream before bed where we got into it a little bit. There we go. So the people will get at least 2 new how-tos with the next beta. And then maybe we got to do one about looping. And maybe one about that. How would you ever remove something in the future? Oh, we've removed stuff before. I mean, don't worry. I know how to use the delete key. We have definitely removed stuff. And then sometimes we add it back in later. So at one point we had renamers. And then they were unstable, and I was like, I need to take them out while I become sane about this language. And then we just put them back in last week. This thing. Put them back in. Delivered them to the people yesterday, or 2 days ago now. Wow. What? Oh, no, because we just went past midnight. No wonder. Time is a weird thing. I agree. All right. Thanks, everybody. Time for me to head off. See you later on. You know what? Let's host somebody. It's been a long time since we did that. Let's find out. In the software and game development category, what is even happening? We haven't looked in at least weeks. Godot 3.5 with some VTuber situation. Binary search harder only. Late night game dev socials Oz. Making an MMO game from scratch.
Because the
Is
stream
this
avatar, they're on
programming?
the, they're on
Doesn't
a
look like it. Is this programming?
Monkey
Doesn't-
Russell and his silly
Well,
human
he's got
sister.
some code in the background. And it's got
why is there so many
transport
results for Russell?
slugs.
These guys aren't Russell. Yeah, this guy's
So
Russell.
maybe
Oh, no, he
if
is a
we
submission.
raid this
We could
guy,
put him in Retro MMO right now.
we will guilt him into working instead of reading Discord. That could be the play. This guy's actually programming. But he uses Visual Studio Code, which is like kind of a negative indicator. And he has IEnumerator. This guy's actually programming, so he gets the host. All right. Hopefully it's not terrible. Thanks, everyone, for coming by. Be supportive. Help people out. See you later.